All right, guys, week 7.
Week 7.
Week 7 of YouTube videos, blogs, and email newsletter.
Old guys talking AI.
It's a lot of work, but we've made it quicker with Audition AI.
Indeed.
It's the 3 of us and Audition AI.
Has Audition AI written every one of these scripts?
Yes.
Or at least the talking points?
It's helped me hash out the ideas.
Oh.
So, yeah, for the flow, if you guys want the secret sauce, part of this is for SEO effort. So I get an idea, and then I use Audition AI to hash out the idea and give me 10 keywords. And then I take those 10 keywords, and there's an app that's called ScaleNut that writes SEO articles. And that generates the full article, but it reads very much like an SEO article. Like it's not interesting.
Yeah.
Then I take that article and I dump it back into Audition AI because I've built a persona to basically understand my voice. And then I might make like a couple of edits, but honestly, Audition AI has gotten so good that it requires very little editing, and that will be the blog post.
In Audition, do you have a favorite model you use for this particular type of work?
ChatGPT 5.
Got it. Is it the chat or the reasoning version? The chat version, right?
The chat version.
Yeah, that's the one that's generally good with conversational language.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it works. And I would say all in all, from idea to audition to ScaleNut back to audition for refinement is like about an hour.
Okay. Meanwhile.
But they're really high quality, I think.
Yeah. No, they are good.
Interesting reads.
The blog posts themselves, and thank you for making the images now, but the blog posts themselves, I now take whatever you wrote, you share it with me in a Word document.
Yeah.
I copy and paste that into Audition, and then I have it turn it into instructions for my in Visual Studio Code, VS Code.
Yeah.
It takes me now about 45 seconds from the time you give me an article to the point where it's ready for me to say, yes, publish this to the website. And the AI does the entire thing. But my system prompt for accomplishing this consistently is 3 pages long. There's a 3-page system prompt that provides examples for styling and the calls to action, like all the different things that our blog requires. But it takes now about 45 seconds. I don't even proofread it until I'm looking at it in preview.
Interesting.
And that's where I do the preview, and then once it's good, I say yes, publish it, I press enter, and then it pushes the code up into the repository, which triggers an automation, which publishes the blog.
So like the ROI for this.
Oh yeah.
The ROI, like we don't need a marketing department. We're essentially doing what a marketing department does.
Yeah.
We're doing YouTube, we're making videos, we're managing a blog.
Yeah.
We're managing an email newsletter. Subscriptions are growing.
Yeah.
And in this whole space, we just have to educate.
Sure.
So I put in an hour of time for content creation. You're doing what you said is maybe
5 to 10 minutes max, including proofreading your work.
To publish.
To publish it. And then I include in all of that after it's like that 10 to 15 minutes a week that I spend includes, when you post something on LinkedIn about it or whatever. Yeah. But
Jaden has to edit the video.
She does. I just
like
take this video and I give it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's an hour. Jaden and Kira. Kira designs the artwork around the video, so that frame, she's working on something.
So that's like an hour. Yeah. And then we spend maybe like a half hour doing this video. So less than 3 hours of human time.
Sure.
Plus Audition AI is really doing the work of like a marketing agency.
Yeah.
I would say
100%.
Bold enough to do that.
And then we use Google Analytics and Microsoft Clarity.
Yeah. And
100% the blog and the YouTube video are driving up our engagements. Like it is obvious when we post, there will be a spike in attendance. It's not what I want to see yet, but it's more every week than it was the week before.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well,
Progress. That's it.
Progress.
My rule with AI is it better than it was before we started? That's it. I mean, we want to see something improved. Is it faster? Is it a little bit faster or a little bit better? Both would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. This week, guys, State of AI, stateof.ai. I don't know if you know this, but they've been dropping an annual report since 2018, And it's really become the thing that like everyone in Silicon Valley reads. This is like the juice of the year. And 2025 just got released, and it's a banger. It's 313 pages long, and you know there's a lot of great touching points from the fact that adoption obviously has exploded. 44% of U.S. businesses are now actually paying money for AI tools versus just 5% from last year. Reasoning and orchestration overtook just raw model size as the main differentiator. And then, of course, power, compute, and compliance are now the new constraints. So just in general, the big theme, the crystal clear theme, is that the arms race for the biggest model is over. And the future actually belongs to those who can route smarter, not build bigger. That kind of sounds like a lot of tech jargon. So what does that actually look like inside of a hedge fund? And I'm actually going to hand it over to the guy who knows way more about hedge funds than I do, my colleague Michael McGuire. And we'll humanize this for you.
Great.
Yeah.
So we have our model routing as the new edge, our little visual for this week's video. And I'll just share a couple of examples. The first one I'll walk through is just kind of a front office process, very common we work on with our customers. And it's the trade screening process. So the way it would work in this structure here is that a user might come in and they have a bunch of criteria where they're looking to trade screen ideas, right? Come up with a list of companies that meet a certain criteria for them, right? So they're gonna put a prompt in, then it's gonna use the AI Audition router, right? So the first thing it's gonna do, it's gonna use GPT-5, right? It's just gonna take the parameters they're putting into the prompt, and then it's gonna reference their research, it's gonna reference some of the company principles, values, whatever documents they wanna reference as part of their process. And it's going to do a deep research on what types of companies fit this profile. Then they're going to get this short list of companies, or hopefully it's a long list depending on their parameters. And then they're going to pass it on to the next agent who's going to basically go out there, look at news, look at information on the internet. Grok Mistral are really good at this. They're really fast. They can scan the internet fast. They can really boil down information from different websites and so forth. And then they're going to enrich that initial subset of research they're performing. Then they'll hand it off to a model like Llama, for example, where you can fine tune certain things with it. But here, the final step, they might take the list of companies with the enriched data, and then they might reference some alpha signals, custom proprietary alpha signals the company created. Now it's going to vet all these companies across all those signals, and then when they're done, they're going to get a nice clean list of companies that they can then add to their process and start doing the next stage of their vetting and so forth. So very popular workflow. Trade screening is something that comes up at a lot of clients these days, and there's a lot of options. We can interchange different models and so forth, and different steps of the process. That's the flexibility of Audition AI. No client does it exactly the same, and that's where I think the flexibility really comes in nicely. For back office workflows, it's that time of the year, right? There's lots of earnings calls companies are pushing out. Their quarterly filings. Some clients, depending on their fiscal year, will be pushing out their 10Ks. So this can be a pretty cumbersome process for companies depending on how they manage this information. So an example of where this can really help the process, right? A back office person might say, hey, here's our calendar of all the earnings announcements and so forth. Now I need to go and update my own records with these documents, with information from the documents, things like that. So a user might put in a list of companies or upload a list of their holdings, positions, watch lists, whatever is important to them. And then the router is going to take care of the rest. So the first thing the router is going to do is analyze this list of companies. Then it's going to go out, it can use an EGRA connector, it can actually even search the internet now, go right to the SEC website and pull in most of this information. And then it's going to start enriching the list, it's going to pull in links to the document, it can download the entire document, and then start taking snapshots of information from the documents and putting them in depending on what they're looking to do or what information is really important to them. Some of those documents get pretty dense and pretty thick. And then a powerful thing you can do with this structure here, right? Chris always talks about having, refined data, consistent outcomes, right? So once you kind of pull this information together, you can actually hand it off to another model and say, hey, fact check all the information I just pulled. Make sure this information is correct. This is one of the techniques that we can use to mitigate against hallucinations, or sometimes the AI may make up a data point or have a bad citation. So then you can use another model to go in and double check all the work. And then you can produce all that information in an output. We can put it into a Excel spreadsheet, which is what most clients are doing today. You can put it in a table right in the grid. You can copy that, put that into an investor deck or something like that, depending on what you want to do with the data. I see the next step of this. Folks aren't quite there yet, but a lot of the information you're getting out of these 10Ks and other documents are things you can update in the financial model. So as analysts are working on their financial models, they're often, every time these earnings reports come out, they're changing their forecast or their estimates to actual data. So we're not quite there yet. Folks, I think in the marketplace are very protective of their models. They want any third-party tools interacting with them, but that's a logical next step once we have this data to do workflows like that. So a lot of flexibility here, and it saves, like Chris is saying all the time, we're shaving minutes off the hours and hours off the day by automating these processes. And then once you get it down well, then you automate it, you make it repeatable. So, every time these things happen, you can just push a button and then it just runs through the whole flow for you. It makes it nice and easy.
Is it safe to say that most people are not doing this yet?
No, I think people are doing parts of this process separately. They're not tying it together in this structure, but I think this is part of folks' AI journey, right? Or AI IQ, as I like to call it, right? As people get more comfortable with the tools, they know what the tools can and can't do. Then they start kind of thinking a little bit further, right? So they're thinking about the job in front of them, and then they start moving forward and start thinking, hey, how can I automate this better? How can I tie these three things together and make a more automated process? So I see with one of our earlier clients, their mindset's starting to get there, and that's the type of project we're working on with a few clients now.
That's great. Got a question for you, Ben. Is it a fair statement to say that these big frontier models, OpenAI, they got a problem with the fact that they've run out of data? Like they've already scraped the whole internet. They've scanned every book in existence. Like they already have the data. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but just the idea that this whole idea of making the next greatest, biggest model, like it's already sort of plateaued. Now the idea is using the best model for the job.
Zuckerberg did an interview some time ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. He said that the brightest minds in this field keep thinking, we're going to dump more money, we're going to dump more GPUs and more power and more data.
Yeah.
And at some point, we're going to hit some limit where the model isn't exponentially better than the previous model we trained.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened yet. We don't know where the limit is. We don't know. So like right now, we know this. Basically, the longer we train the model, the better it is. So OpenAI and Google and Meta and Microsoft and Amazon to a lesser degree, and I think Anthropic, all have their own ways of doing it. But the thing that they keep saying, which is surprising to them, is the longer they train the model, the better the outcome. And they haven't bumped their heads yet. So we keep expecting what you say to be true, but it hasn't been true yet. And we expected what you said to be true on like OpenAI's GPT-4. But then GPT-5 came out. And in many, I think a lot of people looked at it and said, this isn't really better. But what it is much faster, and it achieves similar outcomes, far, far cheaper. Like that was almost their goal with it. I think so two things are gonna happen. It's gonna keep getting faster, more efficient. It's gonna get better and cheaper.
Yes.
And then another thing that is coming, and we don't know when this is going to come or what the training will be that makes this happen, is we will achieve a super intelligence, meaning we will achieve an AI that is more intelligent than a human. I think we're on that path, but it'll probably be really expensive to run. So I don't know if we're out of data, but I certainly don't think that the people at OpenAI, from what I've seen, they're not just adding more data to their next models. They're doing the same thing they're doing. They're using their previous models to refine the data in a different way to make a more efficient model that gets your outcomes faster, which is cheaper. Like the faster a response can come back, that's good. The cheaper that response is, because the longer it works, the more TPUs it burns.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would just add to that. I mean, one thing I noticed between GPT-4 and GPT-5, when GPT-5 came out, I was doing a test. I was testing them for a customer, and we were trying to get some information out of Edgar. And I didn't even realize I didn't have the Edgar connector enabled in this persona or this agent that I was working with. And GPT-5 knew exactly how to, I said, hey, I want the 10K for this company.
Yeah.
And it knew how to go into the website, it knew how to search it. And then I realized that the connector wasn't enabled. Like, how the heck did it get this information? It didn't get everything I was looking for, but it got a lot more than I expected it to.
Yeah.
And then I was asking the model itself. You could ask the model questions. How do you know this or whatever? And it came back and said, I've been trained in this latest release of the model how to search websites like Edgar and like other things.
Yeah.
So that's like the next level of training on these models. There's the binary data, black and white data, but then there's like how to do stuff, right? How to search certain websites or how to solve certain types of problems. And I think that's going to be a whole, there's a whole runway for how models get trained on doing those types of things.
Interesting.
This I will say, on this topic, we can achieve almost everything we can achieve with GPT-5, even GPT-5 reasoning, with previous generations of the models. So I don't know what that means, but like once we figure out our process, like once we wrap a good process around how the AI leverages the tools and the workflows and all of that stuff around this routing technology, building technology around the AI to empower it, to give it the information it needs, we can achieve great outcomes with different models. It doesn't need to be the latest and greatest models. So I think that the state of .ai is absolutely right. Where we're at now is the models will keep getting better, but that is not what is going to hold back enterprise. Enterprise will move forward when we figure out how to wrap our suite of tools and automations and routers and that sort of thing, when we learn how to leverage those things effectively, because we already have there are so many models that do so many general purpose and also very highly bespoke things very, very well. Learning how to use those better is what's going to move the ball forward, I think, in 2025 and 2026.
Yeah. You were telling me a story about a bank.
I was. Yeah, so I
didn't understand it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a conversation last week with the bank CEO, and we were talking about how they leverage AI, and he was saying their bank does a lot of things, they have a lot of services, but one of the things they do is inbound payment processing, where people will mail a physical check to pay, let's say, a water bill. So you mail your check for your water bill, and it comes into a bank branch, and it ends up in a big box. And for the last 20 years, this bank has automated that entire process with robots. They have a robot arm that goes in the mailbox and pulls out a letter and cuts open the thing and takes out the bill and takes out the check.
Wow.
And then there's a computer, and it uses OCR, which has been around for a very object character recognition, to read it and to try to do a match against a customer and an invoice. And that succeeds about 70% of the time. And that's fast. Receive the thing, within hours, the payment is listed as received. About 30% of the time, in the past, that's been kicked back into a big box that humans handle. And then a human will read it and they'll do the matching themselves. So what they've been doing over the last 3 years is they've been using generative AI to double check the humans. And they've found that the human error rate is somewhere around 10%. It's pretty high. Handwriting and things are an issue. So the humans have had, but a 90% success rate, which is, and the AI found a good, 99% of the exceptions the AI has been able to find. So they kept training the AI to catch the human mistakes until the AI was superior to the human by a lot. And now they use generative AI to do the second round. And then that 1% that it kicks out, humans handle that.
Huh.
So I think that's so big enterprise using generative AI.
Yeah.
I think where we're at is a lot of enterprises are going to keep using AI to double as an additional layer of checks on top of the humans until they are so confident that the AI is just getting it right consistently. And then at that point, then they'll shift the humans into a different position, and then the generative AI will be used to do a lot more of that at first round manual work. The same guy said this when somebody in the group said, aren't you worried about people losing their jobs? He said, AI is not doing work right now or for the next couple of years that anybody wants to be doing. Like taking these envelopes out of, like, this is not fun work. This isn't enjoyable work.
Yeah.
It's drudge work.
Yeah,
So giving the humans work that the humans want to be doing is valuable.
yeah, totally. Well, I guess just to kind of keep this video succinct, putting on my salesman hat here, is this is not explicit just to Audition AI. A lot of solutions can do this. ChatGPT can do this. But what I will say is it comes down to prompting at the end of the day and configuring these things. And to get stuff to work exactly how you want it to work is relatively easy when you know what you're doing. It can be a bit of a nightmare when you don't know what you're doing. And with Audition AI, you get the expertise of Megs here, who knows exactly how you work. You get the expertise of a whole dev pit of AI engineers that know exactly how to prompt it and exactly how to route things where they need to be routed. So it's definitely worth consideration. Anyway, that's it for this week. AuditionAI.com. That's audition-ai.com. Thanks again. See you next week.